The time has come once again to discuss things.
Okay, let's start out with this. Hi everybody, I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Zazubar, Melanjeftic 1992, and our special guest, who you will have to forgive him, is having a bit of microphone issues, Deadpoolzilla. And today on Geeky Gentlemen, we will be discussing the original Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
That could have been read off better by Tom Brokaw, Ian.
What?
Like how you read it off like real quick. He was like, tonight on Geeky Gentlemen.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that we were going to be critiquing my introduction
No,
skills.
we've always been doing it quietly. Deadpoolzilla just had the guts to say it.
Oh, okay, fine. You know what? From now on, I'm gonna go get a professional announcer, and I'm not gonna talk to you guys anymore. I'm gonna go move to France, where I'm gonna be special, and they'll appreciate me.
Everyone, this is what happens to Ian after every show after we stop recording. He has this little meltdown.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'll be in my
France
trailer.
and all this stuff. It's crazy.
I'll be in my trailer, and I'm not coming out until I get a bowl of green M&Ms. God help you if I find a brown one.
I say we get back to the apes, or get into the apes, as one might say.
Hey, when did this become bestiality, Bill?
It's always been bestiality. I showed the original Planet of the Apes a few years ago to a friend of mine who, is a little bit, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but he's a little bit like he's a punk dude. So, the only way I can get through them to watch classic movies with me is if I like make porn jokes the whole time, and I call it Planet of the Apes gorilla porn, and he watched it in that way, and it was weird.
Well, isn't that a great start to this video? Everybody, since it's just the four of us now, and no one is possibly watching this, and believe it, I cannot believe this, but we actually alienated an audience without Milan saying a single thing.
Yeah.
Yay! I'm not alone anymore!
You fantastic Russian bastard. You.
Thank you. Everyone keeps saying, you fantastic Russian bastard. If I weren't Russian, would I still be fantastic? Or would I just
Probably
be...
not.
Would you be
No.
less fantastic? But, like, you wouldn't get the Christopher Eccleston fantastic! But you get a, mediocre fantastic.
Speaking of which, I've been playing Super Rub-a-Dub, which is arguably the greatest game to ever come out on the PS3. And it has all these duck puns, and one of them is, like, if you complete a level and do a good job, it'll say Quacktastic. And I just could not stop imagining the Ninth Doctor saying that with, like, a Daffy Duck bill.
And Milan, not if you wouldn't be Russian, you'd be Australian. But then I think, oh wait, Shades is more magnificent Australian bastard.
Okay,
You know
okay.
what?
Now Milan's
Yeah.
self-esteem has been crushed into a pulp.
Not at all. The thing is, living in a Russian household, my self-esteem has been surgically removed through countless eons of pain.
Okay, guys.
Wait, that's a great segue. Speaking of surgically removed stuff...
Oh, yeah. How about Countless Eons? Let's go with that.
Oh, good. Countless eons.
So, yeah, let's try to actually get to this topic we have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we came for that.
The original
So-
Planet of the Apes, 1968.
Yeah, so Deadpoolzilla, you're the one that picked the topic. Can I ask why?
It's really one of my favorite movies of all time. I absolutely adore this film. It's one of my favorite film franchises. I love it as much as Star Trek and several other sci-fi genres. It's so underrated, too. Now, I hated the Tim Burton movie, but I loved the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, even though that was a reboot as well.
Yeah, surprisingly good, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was shocked at how good it was. Like, when I watched the new movie, the first 10 minutes, I was like, this is gonna suck, isn't it? And then once you see James Franco's dad, I don't know, for some reason, that's when I was like, hey, this is really interesting, actually. And it was a kick-ass movie. It handled the origin of the apes better than the original series did, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I mean, the thing is, they have better science in that.
yeah,
Well, no, also just story-wise, because the origin of the apes in the original series is a fucking mess.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's the thing is, like, the original, and there's the problem.
It's gone now.
The original movie didn't really seem like it was planning for anything. And
No,
the
it
thing
wasn't.
I noticed about watching it again, I think this is only the second time I've ever watched it. It seems this movie didn't realize just how intelligent it really was.
No, it didn't. And to quote the producer, he said this in a recent interview, or not a recent, but a more recent interview. He said that if there was any political metaphor in the movie, everyone put it past him because he thought they were just making an adventure movie, and all the writers just laughed.
Well, like, the thing is, though, it seems like this movie shouldn't have been titled The Planet of the Apes to me. It seems like the title bogs it down in being kind of like this cheapo sci-fi movie, but really, it's got a lot of really interesting commentary, particularly on religion.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
Just-
fantastic in that way.
Society as well, and it's just it seems like one of the guys that got a hold of the script was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw this stuff in here and see if any of it sticks, and then it's like the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the novel too,
and
so it's still the movie is based on a novel. For those of you who don't know, it's based on a French novel. And the original title, I think, for the novel was Monkey Planet, and it's a lot of the social commentary and scientific. Excuse me, I just had some of the allegories are come from the novel. The difference with the movie is that they all had to be changed because the society of the apes. Excuse me, I'm tired. Apes.
Stop. Bill, repeat a little bit of that, please.
Where should I start from? When did I?
The Society of the Apes.
Okay. The Society of the Apes changes drastically from the book going to the movie because the book has the apes having a far more futuristic society than the humans do. Though the plot is still about time travel. Their society is more advanced than people's, which is why they think it's a different scenario altogether. And then of course in the movie, famously, the apes in the movie have a very much so more primitive, almost kind of like late medieval society in the movie franchise. And that was just done for budget reasons. But it's interesting that you would say that because that's actually derived from the movie. And the original screenplay written by Rod Serling, actually...
Oh, wow. He wrote that? Wow.
The first draft, yeah. The first draft of the screenplay retained a lot more of it, and the producers were like, this is way too long. You gotta cut this down. And I think there were like 5 drafts after that until we got the movie we have. But it's still in there, and I think it's still done exceptionally well.
And Bill, if I may interject, what I love about this film is that there is a huge gray area. Like there is no the apes are bad, the humans are good.
No, not at all.
You don't see that. That's what I love about this whole series is that you see the evils on both sides. You know, humans were oppressed, but they kind of brought it on themselves. And the apes, they're kind of shitty too, but they got their reasons to be shitty.
Well, here's the thing. The movie does an excellent job of presenting both species in different time periods. Because we don't need the movie to establish apes in the present day, because we know apes in the present day. And we know humans in the present day, but we need a viewpoint of our protagonist on how he feels about humans. And that's what they spend about the first, 20 minutes where they spend in the desert. And
Yeah.
they spend about 20 minutes in the desert, and the majority of that time is used to establish, here's how Taylor feels about humanity, and here's why he's an astronaut. And I think that is a really great way to start the movie. And I actually think that parts of the desert scene are potentially some of the best scenes in the movie. And it's all because the character setup there is so great, because you just see this great change for Taylor. And then,
go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
sorry. And then later on in the movie, the apes have a similar view of humanity, but then we see what they're doing to humanity. And we just see that both of these societies have both different and the same problems, and that's what makes that dichotomy between Taylor and Dr. Zayas so fucking fascinating.
Yeah, if I may, Milan, you've been really quiet, and I really want to hear your perspective on this as well, because one, it's kind of one of those kooky, weirdo sci-fi things that's just awesome to hear you talk about, and two, it's the very first time you've seen this film.
Yes, this is the very first time I actually seen this film. Although I might have seen bits of it when I was a kid in Moscow, but only parts of it. But the
Dubbed
thing
by the same monotone Russian guy.
yeah, yes.
Oh my
the
god,
joke is-
imagine him as Zira.
Okay. Basically, the thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is the religious commentary, and like you said, the apes also aren't exactly. It's not a perfect society. I mean, what's that phrase they use? Scientific heresy. The just idea that's such a misnomer. A scientific heresy, that there's this weird, like unnatural mixing of science and religion in their culture. And it's just the whole idea of scientific heresy is just so backward and so, primitive in a way. But at the same time, like, you see how Tyler sees these ape things as inferior because they have, this, they claim to be very scientific, except they, refuse blatant evidence that he is a man and that he can talk, and that, he is he's advanced enough to speak, and they just basically try to gag him out, and it's a really fascinating idea. God, fuck. It's a very fascinating idea that I love. It's strange enough because this is made during the 70s, and it's
60s.
weird enough. 60s, and it's just really close to the 50s, and just I don't know. Maybe people weren't exactly smart enough to get all the kind of like hints and nods to, like, pointing out how religion is kind of, well, silly in a way, that it's just like, hey, apes, like, have their own monkey god, and it's basically they have their own commandments, and it's just, well, it's a great commentary on religion and man, and it's really interesting to me. But
Yeah.
Tyler, goodness, what's the actor?
Taylor.
George Taylor, what's his name? The actor's name, God.
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston. He just, like, that man can act, and there's this really, really interesting vibe of how I don't really see in modern movies. You see, in modern movies, for me at least, all the characters have, like, every person who's acting has a certain air of fakeness to them. The environments have a certain level of not being exactly all that real. And I love older movies, like from the 60s, 70s, even 80s, because they have this really kind of down-to-earth, way of shooting things, and they have nothing but practical effects to work with. Oh, yeah, yes. There's a really, some people will say, oh, this movie is very, what's the right word I'm looking for? Like, it's too old, like your punk friend. It's like, oh, it's too old, it's not cool, it doesn't have, like, special effects and polish to it. But weirdly enough, I like movies like that because it doesn't look shitty at all. It just looks quite high quality of the time. But the practical effects and the makeup, which looks pretty fucking good, by the way, and it just, the way the characters act and speak, it gives the movie a certain level of authenticity, in my mind at least. Because,
well, what it does, in my opinion, is, I mean, I don't think you can look at this world and say that it's like it's super realistic. I think what the movie completely succeeds in doing is convincing you that it convinces you that everything in this world is authentic for this world. It definitely does a great job of immersion in that regard.
exactly.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I really like the effects. The makeup effects are dated.
Yeah,
they
I
were
would say
really
so.
impressive. They're really impressive for the time, and I mean, I will give the Burton remake this much: the makeup in that is fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a vaguely homoerotic statement.
Michael Clark Duncan's gorilla was fabulous.
About
Oh my god.
the if I may interject here, we got to acting. A lot of us, Charlton Heston can do no wrong. But another actor I think that really knocks it out of the park is Roddy McDowall as Cornelius.
Oh, he's fantastic as well.
I really enjoy how, and you can obviously they've done behind the scenes where Roddy McDowall has been when he was alive. He would literally go home in the makeup still and walk around in it because he thought it was so fun.
Yeah, him and the woman who played Zira, they had amazing chemistry together, and they would during for the whole day of the duration of the shooting, they would just spend time together, kind of, building up a believability of them as a romantic couple. As I think they're just fiancés in the first movie. I don't remember if they're married yet.
They're not.
They're engaged. I think they're engaged or whatever. And I really should know this actor's name. And Maurice Evans. Maurice Evans as Dr. Zaius. Oh my God, that man kills it in this movie. He is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
My favorite performance in the movie, because he is a terrible, despicable creature technically, but I actually find him somewhat likable, and I think it's because he's not really presented as a villain, especially with the ending. He's definitely presented as corrupt. I think that's definite, but he's presented more as, this is the way my society works, and I am working within it. And this is why I think that way.
Bill, I think he's just protecting his culture from what is essentially Satan in his view, Well, when they read that scroll, it's like, man is the only animal who kills for sport, which, not true. The human hunt in the first scene, or the first scene with the apes, but anyway.
Yeah.
The human hunt, and just the way he sees man is like, it doesn't matter if this one...
There was a purpose to that.
Well, no, but anyway, they were taking pictures and stringing them up.
Fair enough, but the purpose of that was because the humans were invading their fields.
But anyway, but anyway, I'm just trying to make a point.
Fair enough. No, you have a decent point.
He doesn't see Taylor. It doesn't matter if he can talk or if he's like a scientific anomaly or whatever. It doesn't matter if everything he says is true. He's still a threat because this guy has been raised his entire life to just believe that man is quite possibly the most evil animal on the planet. And, seeing what Taylor sees at the end of the movie, he's not exactly wrong.
That ending goes down as one of the biggest holy shit endings ever.
Well, see, yes and no, because unfortunately I could not watch this movie not knowing about that.
Me too. I had that too.
Yeah, and I really wish I could have, because it would have been such a great reveal, because there's so much that sets it up. There's so many little hints that they drop the entire movie that sets that ending up. But because that's become the one moment that's become like the con, or, the rosebud, if you will, of this movie, it's impossible from a modern context to go into it not knowing that scene's coming.
Yeah, one thing about that scene, the fact that everybody knows that scene. I hate hacky Hollywood writers that think if you just reference a movie that everybody knows, in everything, that will make it funny. I'm like, stop! I know this is for all the Hollywood writers who are listening to Geeky Gentlemen right now. Stop!
All one of you who passes by your weird-ass son who's listening to us and is like,
yeah, listen. All of you guys, stop, indirectly spoiling movies. You guys are...
Well, hold on. I mean, I don't think you can talk right now, given the background of this title card. Just saying.
Well, the thing is, this movie was made before I was born, but I heard that... Do you know how I was introduced to the Planet of the Apes? That, Steve McClure musical in The Simpsons.
Steve McClure, what?
You know, Dr. Zaius.
Okay, Ian, explain this to Ian. Ian, there was an episode of Simpsons where Troy McClure was dating Selma, and they did a Planet of the Apes musical, and they spoiled the ending of the movie in there.
Oh, I remember that now. Yes. Oh, that was so funny because it's so true to the movie. It was fantastic.
I don't care about chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Fair enough. It's just, I think my favorite parody of the Planet of the Apes ending has to be Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, just because. Where he's having the he's having the hallucination that the apes are going to take over the world, and he does the whole New York, damn yous all to hell.
Oh yeah, when Jay gets, that was funny. No, I just love the visuals were so true to the movie, and let me say this: Kevin Smith is a huge Planet of the Apes fan.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, I listen to him in his podcast. He talks about it a lot. That and Jaws. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so Zaius. Another thing I really like about him
Hold on, guys. I gotta go pee.
and he has to say that out loud.
Thank you for telling
There
me
is a
about
text box for a reason, Milan. And he's gone. And he's gone. Okay, so Zaius. Another thing I love about him is just the excellent chemistry he has with Charlton Heston. And I think the best scene to exemplify that is the one, I think it's after the trial scene. And
where Charlton Heston has that weird bondagey collar on, and he's like being interviewed by Zaius.
Yeah, they have that conversation about Zaius is like, if you don't tell me where the rest of your tribe is, I'm going to have you lobotomized. He doesn't say it that way, but that's what's implied. That scene is my favorite scene in the movie, just without a doubt. The dialogue is fucking spectacular, and those two's performances are amazing, and the way they bounce off, the way they bounce off each other is fantastic. And it just it's there throughout the entire movie. Just Zaius and Heston, and well, Zaius in general, kick ass.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, my favorite thing about this movie is the one thing I was surprised about going into it the first time I watched it a couple months back was Charlton Heston's character's from Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I remember telling you that. And you were like, what?
Like, we get referenced so randomly. It's ridiculous. So I didn't go to Jefferson Elementary, but I've been there. So it's just weird. I want them to put up a statue of Charlton Heston. It'd be awesome.
Well, I would think it should be him. I think it should just be like this giant stone monument of that scene.
Yeah. No. It'd just be the stone monument of Charlton Heston's character from the movie in the whole "damn you" pose.
Yeah, definitely. If I may say this about the ending that I was gonna say, you know what I think makes it even better? They just cut to cold credits with just the waves in the background for sound effect. Yeah. And it has this incredible effect, just this amazing, ominous atmosphere. No music, very generic credits, and it's just the waves crashing. It's excellent.
Yeah, I do like that about it. I really like that Zaius warned him, and we never quite know how much about this Zaius knows, but when he warns him, you might not like what you find at that ending scene, and then you see the Statue of Liberty there. It is really just like, oh wow, he knows everything. He knows exactly what happened to humans. It's not just the scrolls.
Yep.
Which, I mean, once again, not to give this movie too much credit, but to give it some credit. The Burton film, I really did like the parallel scene, I suppose, where the father ape is
played
dying.
by Charlton Heston.
Yeah, and he gives his son the gun, and it's like, this has the power of 1,000 spears or something.
Even though it made no sense why he would have that.
Yeah, I agree, but it was still a cool scene.
Yeah, I guess, but it made that movie. That movie made no sense.
It's the only cool scene in the film.
No, I think the coolest scene in that movie is probably
the one that rips off Kevin Smith's ending.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, that's
the monkey Abraham Lincoln, you mean?
Yes. That scene doesn't make any fucking sense either because they're not on Earth yet. But no, I think
basically in that movie, just to completely defend that movie that Tim Burton made.
Oh, don't
they sent a monkey into a time vortex, and thus that somehow affected the evolution of planet Earth. And so basically, they affected the timeline. And so basically, monkeys became humans apparently. And so they went back forward in time. But the thing is, they're still in the monkey timeline. But the thing I don't understand is how can there be a monkey Lincoln if the time is altered? Like, is there
I don't know. I think it's awesome though. Monkey Abraham
Lincoln imagery is amazing, but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I mean, no. Just for those that don't know, because I find this story hilarious. So there was a comic that took place between Chasing Amy and Dogma, following Jay and Silent Bob, called Chasing Dogma. And in that, Jay went through his Planet of the Apes hallucination again. But it ended with him seeing instead of the Statue of Liberty, it ended with him seeing Monkey Abraham Lincoln because it's hilarious, even though it doesn't make any sense. And then when it showed up in the Tim Burton movie, Kevin Smith was like joking around that he's like, "Oh, he ripped me off." And then Tim Burton's like, "I've never read a comic book." And Kevin Smith's like, "Well, that explains Batman."
Oh, I love that story. So true. Especially not one written by Kevin Smith.
Just very,
It'd be so funny, goddamn funny to see Abraham Lincoln. Oh, that was a poor joke. Withdraw.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, withdraw. Joke withdrawn, ladies and gentlemen.
Played by Daniel Day-Lewis. I made Milan laugh hysterically. I feel good about myself.
That is the. Who is clapping?
What the hell was that noise?
It's me. I'm giving you a very slow clap.
Oh, it was like, is Ian
Sounds-
jerking off?
Sounds like you're fapping.
Yeah, that's what
Yes. I love that pun so much that I slowly jerked off.
No, either that or you're doing the master thing. I don't know. Anyway, back to the original movie. Cornelius is also an excellent character because he's caught right in the middle of this war between science and religion, and because he's getting married to one who's radically on the science side, and verbally in that way. And just their relationship, not only is it extremely charming, but it's also really interesting because it's like you see the movie does an excellent job. You get to see this society, the conflicts in it, the way it works, and the problems with it through like 3 or 4 characters, and I think that's excellent. Like you get it through Cornelius, Zira, Zaius, and what's the name of the gorilla who imprisoning Taylor? Fuck.
Oh, you're talking about the zookeeper,
Tobias.
basically.
Yeah, but I know his name. What's his name?
Tobias.
I don't remember.
Tobias.
But him.
Tobias.
Tobias? I don't think that's his name.
Well, fuck it, whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Those 4 characters. I mean, of course, we get shots of the entire.
One thing about
city.
Tobias. One thing. Sorry for interrupting you. Tobias smoking a cigar. A monkey smoking a cigar is the best form of cinema ever. I don't care what anybody says. A monkey smoking cigar is.
Oh, his name is Julius.
Oh, Julius. That's right.
That's his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you get those 4, and of course, again, you get shots of the entire town too. But through those 4 characters, we understand how this society works, and it's excellent.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I like that scene where he runs through town, and it's such a reversal of all like the classic scenes where the monster runs through town, like that.
Yeah.
It's that very Frankenstein scene, and I just love to see all like the quote unquote monsters freaking out at the man running through the city.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see the Apes SWAT team and stuff. That was neat. I really do enjoy some of the visuals and just the way things work in this movie. It's really quite entertaining.
It's
Well,
funny because
the thing is, sorry,
That's-
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Deadpoolzilla. You haven't talked in a while. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to mention about this film is like how they set up the social status for each ape. We have the gorillas that are the military force and the police force, and we have the chimps who are they're scientists, but also they kind of de-evolve in the later movies into hippies, which I didn't like. And then we have the orangutans, which are the science and religious council.
Well, they mentioned in this movie that they're pacifists, so it was set up in the first one. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know if they turn into hippies as much as they do into. Yeah, you're right, they're hippies, but with the
They are hippies, because like with the whole in the first movie, with Zeta's nephew, he's like, Charlton Heston's like, don't trust anyone over 30. It's like, the old generation must not be trusted at all, and it's adorable. Chimpanzees are hippies.
Yeah. And it's made a lot more clear in the second one because you actually see them going through a Vietnam era type protest.
Well, that's the problem with the sequels, I think, having not seen like all of them any way through. It's just that they seem like they go, oh well, this first movie had a lot of interesting social commentary. We'll try to recapture that and just not be as subtle and interesting about
I'm gonna disagree with you to a point, and I know that you're gonna say like, oh, but I haven't seen it. But let me just say this for those of you in the audience who are interested. That's definitely a problem in the second movie, and I would say to a degree in the last one too. But what's great about the sequels is that they do also evolve the social commentary. Like in the sequel, we get the other kind, like in the sequel, we get two opposing religious factions, who both worship different gods, but they have the same exact problems, and it's awesome. It's such this amazing parallel. And also in the second movie, I'm talking about Zeus like he's the greatest thing ever. Beneath the Planet of the Apes has probably the greatest ape performance ever in a Planet of the Apes movie from, is it Gregory Peck? No, it's not Gregory Peck. He was supposed to do it. There was the guy who plays Ursus in Beneath the Planet of the Apes is, it's an amazing performance. One of the best, probably the best like ape character, or at least the best ape villain ever. Since I don't really consider Zeus a villain, but oh my god, he's awesome. So there's something you have to look forward to with Beneath, is that guy.
Yeah, and with Ursus, with Ursus, you can't really say he's a villain per se. He's more like, he has a very justified rights of why he wants to drive the humans out. He's not looking for total human extinction. He's just like, look, we gotta, have a show of force here, or they're just gonna keep coming back in. So I'm not saying out. I'm just saying kick their asses to the point where they just won't leave us alone.
Right, but to a degree, he's not as developed as Zeus is. But the thing that makes him more of a villain than Zeus in this movie, in the second one, is that Zeus doesn't like him, and Zeus kind of moves closer to the light side in the sequel. He's still the same character, and Maurice Evans still kicks ass as him, but he looks at Ursus as like, dude, you are way too extreme. He's
too human.
I don't know if that's. The problem Zeus has with them is that they don't know what's out there, and that if they find out, they could get their entire society wiped out. And guess what happens? Anyway, spoilers.
You ever seen? There was an episode of Futurama
with the golden bomb. Yeah.
No, I don't think that's the one. There's an episode of Futurama recently where they're time traveling and they go to the future. It's like, no, the Statue of Liberty, you blew it up. You maniacs! You maniacs! Then, like, the camera pans over, and the apes blew up their Statue of Liberty, too! You ape maniacs! You ape maniacs! And the slug people!
There was also an excellent scene in Futurama which spoofed Beneath the Planet of the Apes opposing religion with the mutants. And also, just to keep going on ape parodies, Mystery Science Theater has, in my opinion, the greatest ape parody of all time. Because the first, 4 episodes of Season 7, is it? Season 7, it's all one giant Planet of the Apes parody. And it continues throughout the rest of the series with the character of Bobo. But they have, the most faithful parody because they do the bomb thing, and they have it be Mike's fault that the mutants blow up the Earth in Episode 4 because... Okay, so get this. Let me just set this up. I know where we want to get back to the movie. I just want because this is amusing. So I do urge you to watch the episode where it happens. So the mutants come to the apes and are like, "Can you fix our thermonuclear bomb?" The apes have no idea what a thermonuclear bomb is, so they start fixing it, right? And we open on one of the apes and Bobo's reading a nuclear device manual, which is fucking hilarious. And one of the apes is he's under the hood of the bomb like it's a car. They're talking about it like they're fixing a car. And all the mutants keep doing, they always answer the apes' questions in hymns, which is hilarious. Mike accidentally tells them how to fix the bomb.
Oh,
and then that's how it blows up. And then the episode before they play the movie, they're like, "Did you guys hear it?" And then Servo's like, "Yes, a million frying monkeys cried out at once." That's one of my favorite episodes of MST3K. But anyway, back to the movie.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask this because, all right. Excluding the ending, which is kind of the obvious go-to. What is your favorite scene in the film? I already said mine, so you guys go ahead.
My favorite scene in the film is the whole trial sequence,
Yeah.
because it's like, but the end, like when basically Tyler is just screaming, "I am a man," and he's like, and they're trying to explain the facts that apes might have evolved from humans or something like that. Basically, the ape council makes the whole "see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil" type of thing.
Yes, mine too. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Yes, Blonde. Internet high five.
High five, slap.
That was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
You guys know that was a joke?
I didn't catch that visual the first time I saw it, but I love it. And like, I don't care if it's a joke because it's a really good commentary.
Yeah, that's the thing. When they were filming that scene, I've seen the opposing take too, and I'm glad they went with the hear no evil, see no evil thing, because the original take is really boring. So on set, they're filming that scene. Charlton Heston, they did the first take, and Charlton Heston was like, what would make this even better if they did if they did that little routine? And he's like, oh, that'll be a laugh. We'll show it to the producers as a joke, and they recorded it. And there was no intention to put it to the movie until like the last couple weeks of editing.
Oh, that's funny.
It is hilarious. I love that scene.
How about you, Deadpoolzilla?
For me, I really enjoyed there's so many obvious scenes like the Zetas and Taylor scene, trial scene, and others. But I think one of my favorite scenes is when Charlton Heston's character Taylor is talking about why he kind of like. It almost feels like he despised humanity and why he's just running away. That was the core of it. He was just running away from humanity.
Yeah, I'd agree. I really do like that scene as well. He's got this very good nihilist thing going for him. And, like, it's kind of... I really like that about his character because it's a very believable thing and it's something I can relate to. But my biggest problem with it is I don't get why he's mad at the end of the movie because he's right. There is something out there man is not the greatest thing out there. He was right all along. I think I could get that he was disappointed finding out that apes are having just the same issue. So I don't know, like that's my one.
His race got wiped out. That's why he's mad, and because they did it.
But dude, he didn't want anything to do with his race.
It doesn't matter, Ian. He's still part of that civilization. So when they get
no, he wasn't, Bill. Bill, he specifically left that civilization.
It doesn't matter though, dude, because he's still a human being, and I mean, he's not like. And you'll see in the sequel, he's not completely destroyed by it. I mean, he still is just like, let's start a better. In the sequel, he's like, let's start a better civilization. But he's mad because he saw it coming, and they did it to themselves anyway.
Yeah, but I don't see why he's, like, legitimately, like he breaks, dude. He breaks down.
I think it's the fact that he always had, like an angling thought, like, there is a place that I can go home. Like, I know, like, that the ship is broken, but there's that tiny little niggle of hope of, like, yes, I might be able to get the ship back, I might be able to go home. But that whole thing that's like, oh my god, the place of monkey people with humans on it, that planet is actually the planet that I left.
Yeah, that's when he goes, oh my god, I am home. And I mean, I think that the thing is that Taylor goes through this character change for the movie, where he starts out hating humanity, but I think there's a shift because he's in the civilization of the apes so long that he builds up this new appreciation for his society, and he's not taking up for them. He doesn't think the apes are like any worse, but here he does realize, I do miss my civilization. I do realize that my civilization had some merit because he now has to be the sole defender of it because he's the only human who can speak.
Yeah, and fair enough. It just seems that the thing is, he was right.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He sees the Statue of Liberty,
and
that
is
the
angry.
ultimate. Yeah, Bill, can I please?
Sure, sorry.
He's right. That's the ultimate symbol of him being correct about everything he was saying in the beginning of the movie. And sure, he had to defend his race, but that's the thing is, he never says that humans were any better than apes when he's defending himself. He's just saying that he's not a horrible monster. And I don't think he ever had any, like, he didn't think humans were monsters. He didn't want to believe that they were the best that the universe had to offer. And he gets to see that, yeah, we weren't because we destroyed ourselves. So I don't see, like, it seemed like it was done more for the dramatic moment, which, fair enough. I mean, it definitely worked in that case. Than it was for a natural progression of his character, in my opinion.
I don't agree. I thought it worked perfectly in including that change.
And plus, you have to look at when he has that whole scene of, why he kind of hated humanity. At the same time, here's the ultimate nihilistic person who will ever see anywhere, defending everything about humanity and having his own character arc, and then everything gets thrown right in his face about what he said was true. And it's like everything he said, it was a moot point because in the end, he was right, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Here's the other interesting thing, though. Throughout the entire movie, he doesn't know that he's defending his specific race. He thinks he's just defending humans in general because he thinks he's on an alien world throughout the whole movie. And there's that scene near the end of the movie where they're inside that cave, and he's going through all the artifacts of the human race, like he's going through those dentures and those eyeglasses and the pacemaker, and he's defending, and he says the line, I can't remember specifically. He was like,
I don't know this. I didn't know this man personally, but I knew him in that he had the same problems that we did. The same.
Well, no, he didn't say this man personally. I think he said, they're not just the men. They're not men. They're not men like I knew at home, and that's probably because.
No, Bill. That's the thing. He said he didn't know him, like actually know him personally.
Oh, okay. It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen the movie.
Well, whose fault is that?
Right, but no, but I do also really.
Bill. Just to say, full disclosure, everybody. When Bill found out we were doing Planet of the Apes, I don't remember if we recorded this or not, but Bill said, "I'm gonna watch it like 5 times."
And then I didn't because I had a busy ass week.
But one thing that I really don't get is like, he walks into this fucking cave, and he sees things from humanity's past, like a doll and what have you. That's the weirdest thing. How is he like okay, we're billions upon trillions of light years from planet Earth, and yet we're landed on this planet that basically looks kind of like Earth, has the same atmosphere as Earth, has the same fucking animal life as Earth, basically monkeys. Sure, they're upright and sentient, but still monkeys. And there are, like, literally, they should have gone, like, what the fuck when they first saw those humans feeding in the cornfield. Like, what the fuck are those? Those are humans.
I mean, Milan, to be fair, they don't... Let me real quick. Milan, I mean, you look at other sci-fi movies of the period...
Star Trek, anyone?
Yeah, almost everything has humans, but they're aliens. To be fair, that like if we're gonna nitpick this movie on its scientific things, why are the apes speaking English?
No, that's actually explained in the third movie.
But this is a review of the first movie.
Doesn't matter. There's an explanation for it.
Is it in the movie?
Fair enough.
Deadpoolzilla, what did you want to say?
My thing with the whole other Earth thing was like they could have, like, again with what Ian said of the whole Star Trek thing. They look human but they're aliens. That could be an explanation for it. And the other thing with it was that I think at some point Taylor kind of knew that this was like there was something going on, like maybe this could have been Earth, and just that ending kind of like you had this sense that he kind of figured it out already, but he didn't want to admit it to himself.
Possibly. I'd agree with that.
Well, I would say maybe he had doubts about his original calculations. But yeah, it's one of those things you have to take it with a 60s sci-fi grain of salt. In that, movies like that around the time were always, and I think that's also kind of like the writers using the time period they made the movie to their advantage. Like, oh, you always see like Star Trek and Voyage into, what is it called? Whatever.
Well, I mean, even it's not a trope that we've gotten away from. I mean,
no, not at all.
Not the best example, obviously, but Doctor Who: Voyage of the Damned.
That made no sense.
They're not humans.
Everyone on the ship looks human. Their technology is not far off from the future of Earth, and their ship is named after a human ship.
Well, they explain that part of it, but still, yeah, it's just really awkward. I mean, the Doctor's favorite thing to say was apparently, "You look Time Lord."
Oh, I love that scene in the Beast Below where he's like, "No, you look Time Lord. We came first."
Yeah, But still, I mean, it's in sci-fi all the time, and honestly, this movie had groundbreaking makeup effects. We really didn't need to see, de-evolved humans. I think. I think it was justified enough in the way it did it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if we want to do scientific nitpicks, I mean, sure, the language one. I mean, I guess there were remnants of the culture or whatever the real explanation is. The
Not
one
far
that
off what they said, yeah.
Yeah, the one that really doesn't work is no matter how you stretch it, even with the explanation they're giving in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, assuming that's what they're going with for another sequel. How did apes evolve into highly intelligent species capable of reasoning and tool building within 2,000 years? That is impressive. Even with like nuclear radiation made them intelligent or something. That's quite astounding speeds.
Fair enough. That's definitely fair. I mean, they try to give it a reason in the fourth movie because they had a little bit of help from their own future, which was weird. In how they got so evolved so quickly.
Yeah, pretty much Caesar is the John Connor of apes.
Yeah, that's basically what Caesar is. That and also he's kind of the Jesus of them too. Or no, the lawgiver's their Jesus, but Caesar's kind of like their Abraham,
Moses.
I guess.
They're
No,
Moses.
no, not he's their Abraham, I would say. But what I was gonna say,
Father Caesar had many sons.
well, my biggest problem with the original Apes films, and I'm glad this is what I think the new movie does better. How the fuck did the apes survive the nuclear blast of the original blast, and they don't survive the one of the golden bomb? I don't get that.
Well, I mean, in the new movie, it's a virus that allows the apes to take over.
Exactly.
The one thing I wish they'd introduced in the new movie, as far as the virus, is I wish that I like that it's the virus that kills people but makes apes intelligent. That's a good double turn.
Definitely.
I wish it also took away the human. Like, I wish that the humans that do survive the virus became mute. That's the one thing that they have to introduce.
I think that's something they'll do in the sequel, which, by the way, has the most epic title of all time.
What is it?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that actually does sound pretty bad.
That's fucking BA, dude.
It just making them mute doesn't stop them from learning how to use guns. I think that virus should just basically, sure, it should make them mute, but it also should just basically fuck up with their brains. Just have make.
Well, no, it does.
Should
It does.
Should kind of like de-evolve.
Have you seen? No, Milan, have you seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes? A scientist gets it, and he just sort of slowly becomes this lumbering idiot.
And then he dies.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I thought? Go ahead.
I thought it was so clever how they made the virus spread, because that's the complaint I had as I realized the movie was ending. I'm like, okay, so we just see one group of apes run out of the city and go live in the forest. How do they take over the entire fucking world when we have H-bombs and shit? And then you see that the guy that Caesar bit is a pilot, and that he's going around. I was like, oh, that is brilliant. That was just it was so subtle, and then you get to see the rise of the Planet of the Apes as the virus spreads through. And it's actually a really interesting parallel to the AIDS virus in that. During that end credit sequence, you see the animation of the plane flying around and the outbreak spreading.
That was cool. My biggest problem with the new movie is I don't think it went far enough to show the rise of the Planet of the Apes. I honestly think a better title would have been just simply Rise of the Apes. I know why they put the Planet of in there to get asses in seats. I just it's if you call it Planet of the Apes, more people will know what it is.
Well, to be perfectly honest, though it was cool to see. The scene that, to me at least, was the least interesting in that movie is when the monkeys when the apes are fighting police officers. I wanted to see more of, Caesar being intelligent and shit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see apes fighting cops.
Well, I mean, you kind of needed that. I mean, that's the big revolt scene. You get that in Conquest of Planet of the Apes 2, which is what Rise is kind of remaking, but not really.
I get why they put it in. It's a cool visual. It was fun to do. I mean, it's your trailer fluff, but it's the least interesting part of the movie.
I mean, fair enough.
Guys,
It's the least plausible is the thing.
Guys,
let's.
Vlad, I swear to God, if you say this is the movie with the talking monkey, I'm going to slap you.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Let's give Deadpoolzilla something to say because he's been silent for like half the video.
Well, I don't want the deadly submarine to attack you guys. So.
No,
I'm
that's okay.
actually going to try taking it out with Audacity. We'll see how that works.
It's fine. Go ahead.
But get us back to the real topic here, dude.
Well, yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything in the real topic, and I don't mind talking about the other films. The thing is, with these films, is that I've always loved how there is no real general villain in all these films. It's always like, and they even kept that in Boom Studios comic where they pretty much have this just this gray area where you see both sides of the coin. You see the apes, you think, oh yeah, humans, they're the good guys. No, hell no. And then you see the ape side is like, yeah, they have their own dark shades in society. And
Yeah.
that's always been the tone of the films. And in that sense, is that it's always been the driving force. Like every science fiction, you have the good guys, you have the bad guys. In here, it's one of those science fiction films where there is no definitive. There are some good protagonists that you root for, but on a whole, everyone's to blame to create this world.
Definitely.
Fair enough.
It's a very amoral type of world, which I like. Amoral.
Yeah. I'm going to pull Milan and take that really interesting point and follow it up with this. Milan, I just had a really funny idea. I think there should be a Jebediah Springsteen based on the last scene between Taylor and the Doctor. What's the female lead's name again? Zira. I think there should be a Jebediah Springsteen based off of that scene.
Or the kiss.
The kiss scene. Only it should be like, I would very much like to make love to you. And just, I would love to hear Jebediah Springsteen explain making love to an ape woman.
I also
Of
love the
course
clip
you
where
would.
she's the one who says, "But you're so ugly."
That was clever.
That was awesome.
I was just thinking about that, like, how hilarious would it be to hear Jebediah Springsteen explain the Planet of the Apes?
Well, what if
sex
Jebediah
scene?
Springsteen was just Taylor?
Maybe. Just Jebediah Springsteen as Taylor in the Planet of the Apes. That'd be pretty hilarious.
You know, the Jebediahs.
You don't know that? You don't know about this? You gotta check it out. I'll send you a link.
I know what Jebediah Springsteen is like. I was saying Planet of the Jebediahs.
Oh, God.
Oh,
no.
that would be a terrible Earth. But let me say this to get back to what Deadpoolzilla was
I
saying.
disagree. I think it
Oh,
will be.
Christ.
Let me give you a long, unnecessary description of how Jebediah Springsteen world would work.
Wait, can
Please.
I just say my thing quick? While,
Yeah,
while
okay,
Go-
fine.
Go ahead.
I just want to say this quick about what Deadpoolzilla was saying. The franchise has done an amazing, in the original series I'm saying here, the original franchise did an amazing job of constantly keeping the social commentary present, and mainly evolving it based on the setting, because it goes from the apes future, then back to our present, then to our future, and then into an alternate ape future, which is not very interesting and also feels like a TV movie. And the problem with the fourth movie, again, and why I think Rise drastically is more superior, is because the fourth one is the only one of the five to have a villain with no motivation. The guy who, what's his name? The guy who's the leader of the human, like I think they call him the governor. I don't know. The guy who's the leader of the humans has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. He's just an asshole. Because he treats apes like shit, and unlike the first movie where the apes treat the humans like shit, the apes show more intelligence than the humans do. They also go beyond treating them like animals. They treat them like slaves, and he has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. What makes that movie awesome is the last 15 minutes, because there is an amazing speech by Caesar and this amazing confrontation between Caesar and an African-American character named McDonald, who, because Caesar is just bitching about slavery and about rising up and destroying the humans, and McDonald says this: "As a descendant of slaves, I am begging you to stop." And that scene is amazing because there's fire going. It's awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, it'll be a world of my creation and of my people. And God, I could quote that entire speech. It is one of my favorite movie speeches. And then, Caesar, like, kind of like, you could have ended the movie right there. And then Caesar's love interest is like, no. And then we get this really half-assed ending, like, oh, well, remember what I just said about taking over by force? Let's do it with peace and love instead, because my girlfriend's watching.
Yeah, Deadpoolzilla, did you see the director's cut version of the movie?
I have only seen the director's cut once in my life.
Yeah, I think the director's cut is far superior because it cuts all that bullshit out. It's just Caesar being pissed. And the reason they did that was because they realized that the Apes films were becoming very popular amongst children, and they were like, no, we have to give it an optimistic ending because kids.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Optimism is for the young and not jaded.
Well, no,
Those
it
that
doesn't
are
make
not
any
yet.
sense with Caesar's character in that movie because he would not make that kind of turn. I mean, the other thing about Conquest that makes it excellent, though, aside from those problems, is Armando Santo as Caesar's friend. I think his name is Francisco. He's a circus owner who's from the third movie, and now in the future, he's given up being a circus owner, and now he's just Caesar's guardian. And he's kept Caesar hidden away from this new society that uses apes as slaves, and their chemistry is fantastic. Because Armando Santo just plays this amazing, very sympathetic character. And it's like, this guy played Khan? What? Because it's such a different character, and he does it in such a fantastic way. But there are a lot of redeeming qualities about Conquest, but especially the theatrical cut is really flawed.
Yeah. Fair enough. I haven't seen any of the sequels, and Bill, you're the only person I've ever heard say anything good about them.
I would say watch this. I think everyone except for the fifth one is worth watching. I mean, Escape is kind of like the Star Trek Voyage Home of Apes movies. It's really funny, but it isn't. It's a little bit. It's not as impactful as the first two because it's a lot more of the of Caesar and Zira in present day. I think they're in San Francisco. Just kind of.
Oh, really? So it really is the Voyage Home then? Huh?
Yeah, it's really funny and it's really charming, but it definitely has something to say social commentary wise, but it's not as interesting as the first two. But Neat is definitely worth watching. It's a pretty good successor to the first movie. It just has some production problems that weighed it down.
Yeah.
Four.
You go first, Bill.
Sure, go ahead.
No, I said you go first.
No, okay, let me just say this. 4, if you really like Rise, you're probably not gonna like 4. Because it's a really like, this is the bare bones template for Rise. But if you watch it as like, this is the bare bones template for Rise, and Rise is a different thing, I think it's worth watching. And there are aspects of that I actually do prefer over Rise, like Caesar's relationship with Armando is fantastic.
And
Fair enough.
the only thing I liked about the fifth movie, it was a pilot for the TV show. That what TV show now?
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
The one thing I liked about the fifth movie's fucking terrible, but
Oh, it's atrocious.
there is this one scene that always makes me laugh where one of the apes is talking to Caesar, and it's right after when the gorillas destroyed the classroom, and he said the person that Caesar has said that one word shall not be said to apes, and the teacher said it. Could you please put this in words that Caesar could understand? Oh, he said no. Thank you.
That was great. I mean, Caesar was fantastic in that movie. My only problem is that the script for his character was way more interesting because he was supposed to become ruler. But the redeeming thing about the fifth movie, and this isn't redeeming, but this is something I hate about the fifth movie actually. That was one thing I liked about it. What makes the fifth movie such a fucking disappointment is that they bring in one of the most talked up Apes characters who we've only seen on screen briefly in the franchise, and that's the gorilla leader, Aldo, who was like after Caesar, one of the most important apes in building the society you see in the first movie, because he builds up the gorilla army. And he should be this calculating, awesome military general like Ursus was in Beneath, but he is a dumbass fucking brainless soldier who couldn't lead a fucking duck to a pond. Because he's like, we need guns. We must get guns. And then he gets made by a fucking kid.
Huh. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, Aldo is supposed to be this great, superior guerrilla leader, and he should be like a Khan-level character.
Oh, God. Yeah.
The problem is with Aldo, he comes off, like you said, but he comes off as, like, such a dumbass and, like, this high school jerk-off that you do in high school when you're in high school. And Jesus fucking Christ, this is what Aldo really was. I guess history does go to the victors.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else anyone wanted to bring up?
Well, I did want to go into a deep, horrible detail of how, the Jebediah Springsteen planet would work, but, you want me to go into that?
I think we kind of moved past it.
Just that in the video.
You know what? I'll do it now. So basically,
I said story time with Milan. Yay!
Yay! Basically, okay. Let me get into character.
Oh God, yes.
Greetings and salutations, all ye faithful Gentiles of the seven-headed golden giraffe. This is your friend and compatriot Jebediah Springsteen here. And today I shall be describing to you a planet that I crashed on quite some time ago. I'm back on Earth now, but this planet was amazing. Everyone looked exactly like me and acted exactly like me. The world was a utopia of talking apes and hairy, naked, mute people that ran around and were basically eating corn a lot. There was a lot of corn eating. Basically, what happened was, I was on this spaceship, you see, flying to discover the further outreaches of the universe. So I went to sleep in this little box thing, in a cryogenics tube, and I woke up, and I had a black man and a whiny white person with me with gray hair. And basically, yes, we walked through the desert, but we ran out of supplies, so I decided, you know what? I need to eat, I need to drink. So what I did was, I slaughtered them both, drank their blood, cannibalized their bodies, and wore their skin as clothes. I already had clothes, and it was far too hot to wear anymore, but I was killing them and eating them. I might as well wear their skin just because
why not?
Silence! I am talking.
Sorry.
Just to complete the look. And then, as I was walking, well, as I was doing my gruesome work, a bunch of me's came over the hill, all hairy, riding horses, and they looked at me, covered in blood, with cannibalized meat dropping from my mouth, covered in the skin of my friends. And they ran at me with nets and sticks, and they beat me and carried me off to this ape civilization. And, they put me in this cage in the zoo, and I screamed hideous obscenities at them, and they decided that I was some sort of human prodigy. So what they did was, they started up a cult around me. They started worshipping me as the hairless ape, the one that could talk. I had a lot of anthropomorphic monkey sex, you have no idea. It was great. I had a harem of anthropomorphic monkey women, all to myself. The sex was amazing. They were hair all over. My spawn were hideous, deformed, half monkey, half human.
Oh God!
My gene pool infected the population of the monkey people, and over time, I saw the monkey faces slowly transform into my own. Still hairy though, but beautiful. So, I was an old man sitting on the throne of skulls, still wearing the dried up skin of my friends that I've eaten all those many years ago, with all my half-animal, half-human hybrid running around me, all mutant idiotic due to the, well, genetic incompatibility of monkey people and humans.
Oh God.
So I've decided, you know what, I couldn't keep humping them anymore. So I've decided to do the right thing and euthanize the monkey people. And so I started an anthropomorphic monkey suicide cult.
Oh,
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It's not over yet. I'm still telling the story. It gets better. Far better.
wait, is Jedi Springsteen an old man at this point?
Yes, he's an old man. I'll get
Wait,
to
is he an old man right now?
Shut up,
No.
Bill.
Shut up, Bill.
I'm just curious because I'm confused.
Billy, stop interrupting your
Sorry.
betters.
Sorry.
Basically, what happened? I started the anthropomorphic simian cult. I had them all create knives, in the fashion of the samurai seppuku blade.
Oh God.
And then I had them all line up. I had this, sort of, platform built, which was basically they all stood above me while I stood naked beneath them. And then I commanded them all to commit seppuku in honor of Jebediah Springsteen. And they did. Their blood ran down this platform and bathed me in their corrupted half-human, half-animal blood.
God.
I swam in that pool of goriness for months until the blood went rotten. Then I went to the river and washed myself. Somehow the blood reinvigorated me and made me young again.
Oh, of course.
Oh, nice.
I walked in the desert and past the large statue I had them build of me. The construction of it was basically abandoned after the species became too genetically inferior. So just me in a big green dress with a wonderful spiky headdress lifting my hand into the sky. I looked at this decimated statue of me smiling into the horizon. And I looked at it as the sun went down. Then a bunch of aliens landed not too far away from me. 2 guys in cosmonaut costumes went out and greeted me as the sole inhabitor of this dead desert monkey planet. I killed them and cannibalized them both.
Oh, of course he did.
I ate their skin. Well, no, I wore their skin and ate their flesh and bathed in their blood and took their spaceship and flew back home. No time had passed due to their advanced alien time-converting technology, so only a week had passed since I was, as I took that trip into outer space. So yes, so here I'm sitting here, the patriarch and destroyer of a monkey civilization.
That was amazing.
Bravo, bravo.
Oh God.
The ending was kind of an abrupt ending, but it was good.
I quite enjoyed it. Right around the anthropomorphic monkey harem is where I think I lost my shit.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, Ian. If you were kind of worshipped, I don't care what kind of like creatures are offering you sex. A poon is still poon.
I like
Words
this.
of wisdom from Deadpoolzilla.
I
Poon
like
is
this
still
boy.
poon.
I like
of
this
course it
boy.
is.
I like this boy.
Deadpoolzilla, be afraid. He likes you. That might mean he wants to cannibalize you and wear your skin. It is quite a compliment in Russia.
I mean, our fathers say that.
God, dude, if a gorilla woman, if like a chimpanzee woman was offering to go down on me, I'd be like, you got opposable lips. Go ahead.
trepidation to it, though? Wouldn't you just be like, I want to say yes, but I just don't know something.
Well, I wouldn't bukkake your face because it's gonna get caught.
Oh my god!
I think right about where Ape Bukkake came up is what we need to wrap up this video.
Anthropomorphic monkey bukkake.
Mulan, that was the weirdest way I've ever heard you say this word.
Give us a second. We're having the issue again. Hold on. Okay, guys. Yeah, let's wrap this up. I had a good time talking about it. Let's give a quick score to Planet of the Apes, and then I'll announce my topic. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
10 out of 10.
5 out of 5 for me.
I'm going to give it, 5 out of 5 for me as well.
Fair enough, and we're all in a fairly good consensus. Milan has to stand out. So, gentlemen, I'm quite excited for next week. Maxwell has heard of this topic and wants to join because we will be discussing how to rule the world.
I can.
Yes!
Oh my god. I have a few things to say about that subject.
Indeed. So that should be a lot of fun. I really want to focus on the geopolitical consequences of having a world ruled by one person. But anyway,
He's gonna bring fucking politics into it. I was
Well,
gonna
that's
go like, dude, I want an entire continent made of chocolate. And Ian's just like, no, but what about the geopolitical implications?
yeah, I mean, that's the interesting part. Anyway, so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the fanatic.
And I'm the madman.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. We'll be discussing things.
See you next time.
Bye.